One moment, she was Disney's chosen princess, tapped to revive a legend. The next, Rachel Ziegler seemed to vanish from Hollywood altogether, swallowed by the storm of a staggering $100 million lawsuit. Cameras staked out her empty LA condo, the press circled like hungry vultures, but the star herself was nowhere to be found. Later, airport records confirmed her name quietly appeared on a late-night flight manifest, a mysterious disappearance mirroring the fairy tale character she was meant to embody. The question hung heavy in the air: how did Disney's golden child end up here, embroiled in a financial and reputational disaster of this magnitude? The trouble, it turns out, started long before any legal documents were drafted. Early marketing painted Rachel as enthusiastic, poised, the perfect fresh face to modernize a classic. There was genuine excitement, but subtle shifts in her public persona began to emerge. A throwaway comment during an interview describing the original 70-year-old cartoon as scary landed poorly with some fans. Another remark, seemingly dismissing the prince's role in the story as that of a stalker, ricocheted through dedicated fan communities. These seemed like minor slips at the time, perhaps shrugged off as youthful honesty. But they were the first whispers of a disconnect that would soon erupt into a full-blown crisis. Then came the moment that changed everything. A short clip filmed on a sidewalk. Rachel, half joking, half agitated, looked directly at the camera and insisted that viewers would line up for her projects no matter what. "Despite my flaws and despite my cracks and my breaks," she said, "people will wait in line to see that." That clip wasn't just watched, it was dissected, remixed, spliced into reaction videos and memes set to ominous music on TikTok. People who had once greeted her warmly began to see something else entirely. Not charming confidence, but entitlement, maybe even outright contempt toward the very audience she was hired to enchant. This short, viral moment cemented a public narrative that the studio couldn't control. Disney's PR department scrambled to patch each controversy as it flared up, but every fix seemed to tear open new problems. The studio had gambled on a youthful voice to freshen its oldest brand, yet that same outspokenness made controlling the narrative nearly impossible. When producers gently suggested softening certain takes during the European press tour, Rachel reportedly doubled down, arguing she owed honesty to her generation. A late-night social media post supporting a controversial political cause blindsided marketing executives who had begged her to postpone personal opinion pieces until after opening weekend. A private message from an executive pleading with her to reconsider leaked within hours, igniting fresh debate about artistic freedom versus corporate image control. The internal walls were crumbling. Behind the scenes, concrete warning signs began appearing long before the film's release. Test screening data painted a worrying picture. Families reported feeling talked down to in early trailers, while Disney diehards complained the remake looked bigger but felt smaller, as though the heart of the story had been surgically swapped for shallow themes. Internally, a very different conversation unfolded than the public optimism. Spreadsheets flagged massive cost overruns, visual effects delays, and a ballooning advertising spend that now rivaled the entire production budget. Contingency memos circulated discussing what would happen if the film failed to cross the $500 million threshold, a figure once considered automatic for a property with this level of global name recognition. The financial dread was palpable. Then came opening weekend numbers, the digital equivalent of a cold, hard slap. Domestically, the film limped to second place, outperformed by a mid-budget family comedy featuring pixelated landscapes and blocky heroes. Likely the Mario movie. Worldwide grosses looked no better. Early tallies suggested that even generous long-term estimates wouldn't recover the studio's massive investment. Headlines declared the era of remake fatigue official, while shareholders, already unhappy about other business segments, bombarded earnings calls with pointed questions. How could Disney misread its core audience so badly? Where did the marketing go wrong? And why did the lead performer appear to resent the very mythology that put her name on the marquee? In the wake of the box office disaster, the board summoned senior counsel. Lawyers began parsing the fine print of Rachel's contract, focusing on a clause rarely invoked outside extreme circumstances, an agreement requiring talent to avoid statements or actions that might inflict measurable harm on the brand. Public disdain, they argued, translated directly into lost receipts. Survey after survey linked Rachel's controversial interviews and viral moments to negative P. While these numbers accumulated, Rachel's camp issued small, carefully worded apologies. None landed effectively. One self-recorded video, shot against a blank wall, attempted earnestness but came across as rehearsed. The phrase "learning opportunity" ranked high in negative replies online. On the eve of high-stakes reshoots meant to gather additional footage for an international cut, Rachel was spotted at a private airport terminal rolling a single suitcase, flanked by 2 aides. Digital detectives quickly tracked flight paths and concluded she was headed east, perhaps toward the Gulf or beyond. The following morning, Disney's lawyers filed their civil complaint: breach of contract, reputational damages, and restitution of $100 million. Suing a film's own star is akin to lighting a match in a fireworks factory. Agencies reportedly threatened boycotts, and producers across Hollywood trembled at the precedent this set. Yet, privately, many admitted the relationship had become unmanageable. One casting director confessed that studios now assign entire staff positions solely to social media vetting, guardrails against scenarios exactly like this, but never executed at such crushing cost. Meanwhile, the narrative outside Disney's gates morphed into a global spectator sport. Every move from either side became fodder for podcasts, late-night monologues, and speculative threads. The contrast with the rival pixel flick grew impossible to ignore. While Snow White faltered, the blocky adventure scorched the multiplex, eventually cruising past $1 billion worldwide, becoming shorthand for corporate success against Disney's struggles. The financial hits kept coming for Disney. Their quarterly earnings missed targets significantly, with analysts pinning roughly a third of the shortfall on Snow White's performance and associated write-downs. The lawsuit served a dual purpose: attempting to recoup capital and signaling to Wall Street that accountability still existed inside the company. Speculation surrounding Rachel's disappearance deepened the intrigue. Paparazzi pictures surfaced intermittently, grainy images of someone who might be her browsing boutiques in a Dubai mall, or glimpses inside upscale restaurants where a woman matching her description dined behind tinted glass. None were definitive, yet the uncertainty fueled endless speculation. Was she running to avoid legal service, seeking counsel beyond American jurisdiction? Rumor mills churned out sensational claims of hidden bank transfers and hush-hush meetings. Weeks later, she surfaced online with a carefully lit photograph posted to a private account that quickly went viral. The image showed her seated at an outdoor cafe, book in hand, skyline glowing behind her. The caption read simply, "Still learning." Disney lawyers saw something else entirely: proof of her location and confirmation that international service might soon be viable. Court motions filed that same day petitioned to extend jurisdiction tools for digital notification. Yet, almost simultaneously, rumors swirled that back-channel contacts had reached an accord. Whispers suggested mediation had finally locked both sides into a tentative agreement: a high 7-figure restitution package spread over years and contingent on future earnings, a potential future charity initiative co-funded by both parties, and a mutual non-disparagement pledge. It wouldn't be the full $100 million, but it offered Disney financial accountability while giving Rachel a long, complicated path back. In the grand calculus of Hollywood legends, the Rachel Ziegler Snow White saga may eventually shrink to a single cautionary line. "Remember the Snow White incident?" muttered whenever a rookie interview goes off script. But for everyone who lived through it, the studio executives, the publicists, the agents, and the stars themselves, the impact feels seismic. Studios now adopt stricter digital footprint scrutiny for talent. Executives weigh personal brand volatility alongside box office draw, and stars grapple with a new frontier where authenticity must somehow navigate contracts, enforceable to the tune of 9 figures. The fairy tale revival turned into a very modern, very expensive cautionary tale, proving that sometimes the biggest monsters aren't in the enchanted forest, but in the viral clips and legal documents of the real world.